Hello everyone, this is Gummy. Welcome back to our Quick Look at Hero series. We're going to do Iron Man today. What this basically is we're going to take a look at all of the powers available, show you how they work so you can make a better informed decision when both buying a new hero to see if you might like their play, or to know which skills sort of fit the way you're looking to play. So let's go and start off. Iron Man has a lot of powers over Moon Knight, and they don't really all fit, so we're not doing them in 1, 2, 3 as always. So I'm just going to go and fit them the best I can. So the first we have Repulsor Blast, basic ranged attack. Okay, then we have his movement, which is actually a pretty cool looking movement power. You have this little energy shield that comes up, very reminiscent of the Marvel heroes, Marvel vs. Capcom, Iron Man, dash, and block. Okay, we have Pulse Bolt. It's stunned, so there's a slow rate of fire, but it does damage to everything as it goes. So we can do that. A really nice power. And then we have Channeled Repulsors. Basically everyone has this attack, just hold it down, and it does damage over time. We have Unibeam, which, as you can see, it does more damage if it's fully charged. If you have the toggle on, it does 100% more than that, so it can ultimately do 200% damage over it. This is the Unibeam. And lastly here we have Repulsor Barrage, which is one that's used in raiding a lot due to the very high rate of fire. And more toggles you have, the higher the damage it does. Toggles I'll show you at the end. There's a bunch of different toggles that you can put points into and activate for different effects. Some give really good with some downside, some there's not really a downside. Okay, take a look at the next. This is some of the more physical. We have Voltaic Punch, basic damage, and does a little more damage per percent of your missing suit power. So if you're at 0 suit power, you will do 100% more, and that's just punch things. Okay, we have the next movement, which is the Jet Boot Flight, which is the classic Iron Man flying around. We have Arc Reactor Overload, which is a good one. I'll show you that in a moment. Let's take a look at this. Jet Thrust Punch. It's a boss killer, which does more damage to bosses. But the reason I'm doing this is I can show you how Reactor Overload works. And you can see with the spirit bars, actually the suit power, it's actually a really cool looking thing. Okay, now I'm down to 0. Arc Reactor Overload will do this. Boom. Redoes all my spirit. Which is really good if you get the duration right. You can just keep going with your powers, hit that, and just never run out of spirit. It also does a good amount of damage. Right now you can see it's at level 1 doing 15,000 at the top. Okay, the next is Death from Above. It does knockdown. If you have certain toggles, it does more. So it can do up to 100%. And it's one of these boys. It has a bit of a cooldown, so you can't keep using it. Same with the Reactor Overload. That is a high cooldown. Okay, I showed you the Jet Thrust Punch, and then we have the Jet Assisted Slam. This weakens them so they do less damage. No cooldown on this. So you can just punch the ground as much as you want. And then we have the signature, the one-off. You'll recognize this from Iron Man 2. And that is here. It's a really good crowd control. And it even has the nice little effect of the cartridges popping off like it had in the movie. And that has a cooldown. Okay, next we have the missile tree, well, the tech gadgets. You have micro missiles. Just shoots a bunch of them. You don't have to target. You can just be fighting something, doing something else, and just tap it, and it'll go and find the target. Really useful, especially if you have it set to a button that you can easily just keep tapping as you're fighting. Then you have Wrist Rocket, which is really powerful. It's damage, and then damage over time, and it has the option to do 25% more, but have a cooldown. So on its own, no cooldown at all. But if you have the toggle on, it'll get a 4-second cooldown. And I'll show you that when we're done here. Then you have Missile Salvo. It does base damage. It does damage against burning enemies. As you can see, this will give it burning. And we'll give this a look. You can just hold that down and keep firing missiles. Let's go out here so we can take a better look at that. Yeah, they seek on their own, it seems. I've not really tested these out. Yeah, so they'll seek on their own. So it's sort of like the basic wave, but it hits the first target and they seek. So it can be useful if you're running Hollow Sim or Midtown. Then you have the Jericho Bombardment. Oh, and clearly none of those have cooldowns. Jericho Bombardment does. This is the Jericho Bombardment. It's basic AoE. It adds burning, makes them take more damage. So it's a really good one to land first before you do anything else. And then lastly we have Coolant Blast. It does damage, it slows them, it freezes them, it costs 2 power, and it does 100% if you have life support systems activated. But that'll also give it a cooldown. I personally I have a all energy run for Iron Man, so I use this one, though most people don't, just because it's the last energy ability. As the missiles, some of them are, some of them aren't. You can see physical, physical, physical. There's Jericho's energy, and so is the Coolant Blast. Now, let's take a look here. The toggles. We're going to clear 2 bars out. The first bar here will get the toggles, and I'll go over what each one of them does. And then I'll show you the different powers that react with them. So let me just find them. There is one. And then over here we have... I apologize for not knowing it right off the bat. Yes, Death from Above. Then over here it would be... Yeah, I just passed it. Yes, the Rest Rocket. So you have 3 that are effective on them. So you have Missile Control System. It automatically fires the micro missiles. More micro missiles. It also increases your critical hit rating. So we can activate that, and I'll show you a power. Let's just say flying. Oh, and missiles fired. Then we have life support. Regenerates health per second. 100% of your max life when you're defeated. When you revive, you do a lot of damage, and everyone has Constitution when it's toggled on. Oh, you see I toggled it on and I fired the missiles. Then we have Adaptive Armor, Defense Rating, a damage boost to your melee powers, 25% damage absorption, and it costs 1 suit per 21 damage absorbed at the level it's at, which is level 8, which I just threw points in so I could remember which ones are the toggles. I'll turn that on, watch the missiles fire. And lastly, we have the Arc Reactor Enhancement. This is the one that is the biggest downside. Maximum suit power. Restores suit power when you're not using something that does it. So use your basic powers to get suit back fast. Damage rating 0. Damage rating plus 0 for 10 seconds when you use a power. Let me throw some points into that and see if that increases it at all. Okay, there we go. Plus 102 for 10 seconds when you use a power. This rating is equal to 300 of your bonus suit power. Okay, and when you toggle it on, suit power is increased for all powers. I think it's a damage rating. Now one of these, let me find which one it is. It actually adds a cooldown to powers. As you can see, the Rest Rocket, it does more damage, but it has a cooldown now. Death from Above comes in with a cooldown. Unibeam will do more damage, coming with a cooldown. Some of them do. It'll say on the power which ones do and which ones don't. I haven't played Iron Man in a while. I apologize for that. But we can simply leave it at that. That's a little over. You're going to want to use the toggles at all times. You actually find yourself at a disadvantage if you don't. So, that's my look at Iron Man. I hope it's been insightful, and I will see you next time.